Hello and welcome to Eternal Durdles. I'm your host, Zach Clark, and with me this week,
Sorcerers! Josh here.
yes, Josh, the Lord of Itza. How are you, man? It's great to see you. It's great to have you on the show.
I'm great, doing great. Glad to be here.
Yeah, I mean, I was just looking, doing a little bit of like last second research for the show. You literally just put up another episode, like what, like 20, 30
Yeah,
minutes ago,
yeah.
which is great. You're the cadence for your channel is amazing. Which if you're looking for like more information on the sorcery card game, Sorcery the Contested Realm, Josh's channel, Lord of Itza, is great. We'll obviously have the links below for that. But Josh, I brought you on today because I wanted to talk about something a lot of legacy Magic the Gathering players look for when they're looking at a new card game, specifically organized play, and that wasn't always a focus of Eric's Curiosa, the company that makes Sorcery.
Yeah, yeah. And the good news is it's here
Yeah,
finally. It was fantastic to finally have that organized play announcement. I think the reason that they finally did that was they had seen the success of some of the events. The first Sorcery Con,
yeah,
where I think they had around 50 people, Courtesan Cup, 150. The next Sorcery Con, over 300. And finally, they're like, yeah, we better start helping these folks out
yeah,
and
yeah,
giving them
yeah.
the organized play they want.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that like drives people to, a new collectible card game, especially because this particular game is so targeted at people who are like, those old head Magic players basically, like that are used to the Pro Tour and the Grand Prix schedule and circuit, and they don't mind. We're of an age that we don't mind traveling to events and stuff like that. We're paying $450 for foil rings and stuff like that. Like why not? Why wouldn't we, want to
Yeah,
travel for an event, right?
yeah, definitely. Yeah. And I mean, that's really what I'm looking forward to. And I like how they've tiered it. I will say I was hopeful that they would maybe make it so that there were, qualifier type things. They haven't done that yet. And I'm okay with that. This is more of a casual game. They're going to have to work up to like maybe
Yeah.
where the Avatar of the Realm is invite only or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, it's not the OG Pro Tour that was like you call the phone up. There's a little bit to it. So let's quickly explain what those tiers are of the tournament. So there's, and correct me here if I'm wrong here. There's Cornerstone, which is like your local LGS like championship. That
Yes.
goes into Crossroads, which is sort of a
Cross.
regional event.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
then now you just said something about Avatar of the Realm, which I am vaguely familiar with, but how does one get into the Avatar of the Realm tournament?
So they haven't announced any of that yet, other than they're going to have it. It's going to be the first quarter of next year. And it sounds like it's going to be open entry.
Okay.
Just so I thought, the Crossroads would let you get into that.
Yeah.
It looks like it's just going to be this first time. If you come to the event, you're going to be able to play in the Avatar of the Realm tournament, which is, I think, really cool. I mean, I
Yeah.
think a lot of people haven't played at that level, maybe. So it's like, oh,
Yeah.
here's an opportunity, and I don't have to fight to qualify.
Yeah, 1-800 Pro Tour. I was actually wrong. Yeah, that sounds
Yeah,
that
yeah.
sounds like it'll be great. Yeah, so let's talk about a little bit about so obviously there are prizes for these events and there are dust. So dust is basically, for lack of a better term for the people of our generation, it's Kool-Aid points, right? That you can trade in, and some games we've seen with that, like Legend of the Five Rings had it, that you got it
Yes.
for each one Koku, which was the
Yes.
unit of whatever. I
Yeah.
actually got a sword off of that. I traded in 10,000 of them and got a sword. So I'm one of
That's
those. I'm
cool.
one of those like insane people who like went to enough tournaments. So, but the idea is that you could trade in these things for cards, for
Yes.
merch and stuff like that. I think I just got my prismatic, pristine, whatever, the 1v1 playmat.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah, off of
yeah.
some boxes that I got.
I think that was the Primordial Spring.
Yeah, Primordial Spring. That's what it was. Yeah.
Primordial Spring. Yeah. That's a beautiful piece of art. I actually saw it in person at GenCon. Nearly picked it up, but it's a big piece. So.
Yeah, it's a big one. Yeah, you
Yeah.
have a couple pieces. I think some of them are behind you, right? Those are OG,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Those
So
are the real
this
deal.
is Cast in Exile, and then also I just did a recent video where I revealed my other original pieces. I own Eremos Mercenaries, Shatter Strike, and then I also own a couple of the sketches, one of which I haven't revealed at all yet.
Oh, sweet,
Yeah.
nice. Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, tune in for that. So at some point in time. So, yeah, the video you did today was talking about like upgrading the Earth Precon to 50/30. Talk about the 50/30 40/20 thing for people who are kind of new to it.
Sure. So when the game first started, it was 40/20. 40 cards in your spell book, 20 cards in your atlas. That's what we went with. Then with the release of Arthurian Legends, the decision was made to move to 50 in your spell book and 30 in your atlas. Now the real question is what happens with Gothic? Because
Yeah.
the rumor is they're going to go to 60/40.
Yeah, I heard that rumor, which
A
I
lot
don't
of people
know.
don't
Yeah.
necessarily like that idea. I think a lot of people are more like, let's do 60/30.
Okay.
We'll
My
take the
thing
extra
was
10 over here, but
yeah. Finding the right high-end cards for legacy, vintage, pre-modern, or old school Magic can be challenging. That's where friends 3-for-1 trading come in.
3-for-1 Trading is one of Europe's top Magic the Gathering retailers with an incredible selection of premium singles, sealed product, and even full sets, all available with free, fast, and secure worldwide shipping.
They add fresh inventory every Wednesday with weekly deals and discounts. So whether you're hunting for that elusive piece of power, a legacy staple, or something spicy for your collection, they've got you covered.
First high-end orders over $500 or €500, use the code EDFREE to get free worldwide shipping.
Check them out now at the number 3, the number 4, the number 1.gg/ED. That link takes you right to the shop and helps support the channel.
Huge thanks to 3-for-1 Trading for supporting the Legacy community. Now back to the show.
My thing was like, I don't like the in-between. You know, like, let's just go right to whatever the end number is. And then, for a couple months, things can be wonky, right? Like,
yeah.
One of the things, one of our sponsors is the website Moxfield, a guy I've been playing Magic with since I grew up. And he's primarily the other person that I play Sorcery with. Well, I go over to his place and we just jam out for like an entire afternoon, like we're still hanging out in his mom's basement. But one of the things that kind of stopped us from playing for a while is when Arthurian Legends came out, we were like, man, we have these really cool tuned 40/20 decks. And it almost feels like, and in Legend of the Five Rings, they did that. They switched to 40/40 and from 30/30. And there were people who were holdouts that would play the 30/30 version of the game. And we were like, maybe that'll be a thing. But it seems overall people have adopted the 50/30, and that's the way it's going to be.
Yeah. And the 50/30, that jump hasn't been as traumatic, I think, as most people thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
There's enough there that you can justify the 50/30 and the consistency. Even though Sorcery is designed to be swingy, they want those unique cards maybe to not come up every game. We're still not at that point to where it's like, well, you're just never going to see that.
Yeah.
A lot of people are arguing that 40 cards in your Atlas, you're not going to see a lot of your
fixing is going to be tough. Yeah, fixing is going to be tough.
Yeah. So,
well, I mean, assuming that Gothic doesn't give us a bunch of other fixing as well, we'll see.
Exactly. Yeah, there could be tutors, there could be scrying, there could be, all those types of fixing cards that might happen, which could make it so that, 60 isn't as bad as everyone's worried it might be.
One of the things that's interesting about this game too is that, so you mentioned the uniques. The rarities are almost like their own restricted list.
Yes.
So the mythics are called uniques. You can only have one per in your deck. The rares are extraordinary. No, they're
the rares are elite.
Elite.
Yeah, elite.
Thank you. Yeah, elite.
Yeah.
Elite. You get 2 of.
Exceptional
Exceptional is 3.
are your.
And then the ordinary are 4 ofs. So it's interesting when they're increasing the deck size like this, because technically there is a slight power drop overall in the game. Almost like you're playing sealed deck in Magic. You're less likely to see the big bombs.
Yes.
But because at best you can only have one of that, like the ring or the stone in your deck, you're less likely to see them. So as they continue to increase the size of the decks, hopefully not more than 60.
No,
I couldn't imagine. But as they increase the size of your spell deck, those cards become less consistent. The games do become swingier, and it really comes down to who can manage that dichotomy the best, I think, as far as tournament play is concerned.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing we have to worry about is like some unique cards are probably going to have overlap, right? We're going to get Gothic. We're going to get all these new cards. There's going to be something that's a mana generator probably, or something like that that's similar enough that it's almost like you have 2 of a unique card in your deck because they have some overlap.
Yeah.
So that's what I think is going to happen is that, yes, the Philosopher's Stone is going to do what the Philosopher's Stone does, but this new card in Gothic, it does something similar that's just as good. So if I see either one of these cards, I'm a happy man.
Yeah, keep your eye out for 1-mana artifacts, right? Like one. Like it's just like, come on. Every time it seems like a set comes out, there's something that's like, whoa, this is busted.
Oh yeah.
So speaking of busted, we've seen I've seen a few tournaments where they there's no banner restricted list for this game yet, not officially.
Yes.
But I have seen tournaments where they're like, soft banning for the tournament avatar called Arcmadio.
Yes.
I wonder what's your thought on that? Do you think that they're going to take a stance on decks like that are egregious, or do you think they're just going to let people sort it out?
I think if they do eventually take a stance, it's going to be a couple of years at least.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They've had a very hands off. Let's let the community build organized play. Okay, we like what we see here. Now we're going to help. And I feel like if they ever get to the idea of we're going to have to do bans, that's going to take another couple years where they say, oh, our organized play events are being dominated by Avatar X. This just isn't a good look. We missed him in play testing, whatever it was. And so we're going to make some type of an adjustment in some way.
Yeah.
But I think they're going to let the community make these bans for a while and kind of decide and see what happens.
Yeah, I think that's another interesting thing is so they're putting out like one big set a year and one small set a year. So you get like, the set that's coming up is like 13 unique cards in like a pack that you can buy. It's called Dragon Lord, right?
Yes.
So you get 13 cards, they're ready to you've got the whole set. Good, there you go, you're done. But then later in the year they're coming out with Gothic, which is what, like 300 or 400 cards, something like that.
I'm expecting at least 400.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's going to be 400.
And because those sets, that's a large set in what is a small card pool. They can do things like, perfect example is it used to be that Death Speaker was a card that like was dominating, right? And they put out this guy, which is the Funeral Pyre, that you can remove 3 cards from your opponent's graveyard when it comes into play. So they can design things that will sort of mitigate those problems as time goes on. And I think that that's probably, for now at least, the smarter way to do it, because the card pool is so small. You can fix those problem cards by putting out things that are just like, that beats that particular combination if that happens.
Yeah. And some of the first two Gothic previews that we had are artifact hate. The ring is a problem. A lot of people think the ring's a problem. We've seen swap. That card is going to see so much play. It is so good. It's so versatile. And then we also saw, I can't remember it, the Iron Curse. I know Mateus painted it, but I can't remember the name of the card. Yeah. I think that's what they're going to try to do, right? They've got a whole year. They can kind of see, and then they can tweak text before they send to the printers.
Yeah. I suspect that they'll be able to figure things out. Like I said, we're just ramping up into organized play. So I think it'll take a little bit of time before we get to a point where the data is like these cards need to be banned. And we're such a small community right now, which is why it's a great time to get in, because compared to Legacy, prices are quite low. You can get in, get your power, as it were, early on. I have a problem. I'm just going to show you real fast. I have 7 sorcery decks that I just built like over the last couple of weeks, because I was like, oh, this is great. Like, I'm just going to start building decks. Yeah. I have 2 problems actually. Every time I get involved in a new card game, I go nuts.
Yes.
That was my case with Magic. I grew up in the 90s, L5R, Overpower. I think there were several others that I got involved in, but Overpower came out again, and now I'm like messing around with that. I can't help it, But if that's the sort of thing that like tickles your brain, this game is great for that, because it's not totally solved yet. People are still coming up with decks. There's not enough people to like solve an entire format. It feels very much like Magic's pre-modern format, where like it's community driven. There's a lot of people brewing out there, and then new decks are kind of getting discovered every day.
Yeah. And I think that's what's going to happen with Gothic, right? When we had Alpha come out, it was the Death Speaker, and then that faded, and then it became Sorcerer Aggro, though that was kind of the deck that became the thing. And we're seeing that as we move along. Then there was Avatar of Air Midrange came out, and that dominated things for a while. So because of this small community, it is nice, since we're only doing one set a year right now, we don't have a million people that are going to burn through every deck type like that. So that's fine to have that small community now. Now down the road, it'll be interesting.
Yeah. So you've got some events that you wanted to highlight, that you want to talk about.
Yeah. So right now I am involved with the Sorcery Explorer series. That is exploresorcery.com if you want to check it out. Next event is going to be in June in Columbus, Ohio. All the events are in the Midwest, so that's kind of where we're starting at. And they are looking next year to expand it, maybe have even events much further out from the US. I don't know if we'll go out to Europe, but they're definitely looking at adding other parts of the US. So if you're looking for events in the Midwest, those are pretty neat. They have unique tokens of the dual sites that they have made
Awesome.
and commissioned. So those are pretty cool. Obviously, GenCon's coming up. I will be at GenCon. I will be helping out with judging again.
Nice. Hey, Legacy fans, since you're enjoying the show, please like and subscribe the video. It helps the channel grow.
Support Eternal Turtles on Patreon so we can create even more content and cover events.
Patreons get an ad-free RSS feed, 4 bonus episodes a month, and Discord recognition. Join the Dirtle Maniacs at patreon.com/eternaldurtles.
Now back to the show.
Were you at GenCon last year?
I have been to, so before the pandemic, I had been to the last 6 or 7 Gen Cons. So unfortunately, Sorcery wasn't out then, but I worked for a board game company at the time. So I was out there every time, but I haven't been back since the pandemic. I stopped working for that company and just didn't get a free ride.
Yeah.
A little harder to go when you have to actually pay to go.
Yes, it is. Yeah. So I will be working or helping judge there. And if you want the experience of me shouting for 18 hours a day, that's where you can come and see it happen.
Yeah, man. Someone get this guy some cough drops before Gen Con. I always needed them at Gen Con. I was just downlining lozenges constantly. Running every time I got back, I'd lose my voice.
Yep. Yeah. It's just one of those things. I don't know. I can shout and it doesn't really affect me.
Man,
it's
must
weird.
Be nice.
Yeah, all last Gen Con, I shouted the whole 4 days. And we were in the stadium then, so it was real fun.
Oh yeah, the stadium's really nice too. Yeah. So I want to talk about a little bit about the strategy in the game and the concepts, because I was watching. I just love taking in the content, right? And so there's a lot of gameplay content. And one of the things that really differentiates this from Magic is the movement, right?
Yes.
And I was watching, I can't remember who versus who, and what channel it was, but it was just Battle Mage versus, I think it was Druid. I think it was a finals of something that just happened. Battle Mage versus Druid. And watching this match where the Battle Mage put out maybe 4 sites and just danced around those 4 sites for a minute. Not the way it's funny to watch other people play, because it's not the way I play. When I'm thinking about playing the deck, and it was obviously much more optimal than the way I had been messing around with it. And I was just like, wow, it's just it's so crazy to watch a game that so closely mirrors Magic, and then you watch somebody who knows what they're doing play it and completely just changes the way that you even think about the game. It was pretty interesting.
Yeah, and that's sort of the thing. So I built this deck called Snagged, and when I first was playing it, I was putting out tons of sites. And the goal of the deck, it literally has all the cards to move your opponent's avatar. So the goal is to move the avatar to me as the Druid, flip as the Druid, so as if he tries to escape, he takes damage. But I was playing too big of a field, so now my goal is 4 sites. I want to pull you in, and I want to beat you down, and I want to minimize your escape paths.
Nice.
So I've only got 4 sites to let you get out.
That's why, and obviously you have to truncate the cost of the cards in your deck and stuff like that to accommodate that.
Yeah.
That's such a neat idea. So I have a question that I haven't seen you answer on your site. What's your favorite avatar?
I'm loving Druid.
Druid.
I'm absolutely loving Druid. He is so much fun, and I'm really, because I enjoy the movement effects in the game, which I think we're going to get a lot more of in Gothic. And I think water is really going to come into its own. The Druid being able to penalize you moving, I just think, sure, there's going to be probably 10, 15 new avatars in Gothic. It's going to take a lot to move me off of Druid, though.
Fair. I'm an Enchantress guy myself. I really like that mechanic, and you kind of get to just be the biggest guy in the room if you get your thing going, which is super fun for me. It has a lot of the flavor of Magic the Gathering's Enchantress style decks, but you're basically playing animate artifact. On every one of your spells is an animate artifact, and you just get to smash in with a 5/5 constantly. It's pretty fun.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think, and I really think Enchantress. I'm hoping she's a little weak right now because the auras that came out in Arthurian Legends just didn't help her a lot.
Yeah, they're
So
good,
I'm
but they
hoping with
go away.
yeah. So with 400 new cards, I'm hoping we're going to get something substantial to really help her out. And maybe she'll become something that we see more often.
Yeah.
So
I opened a foil one in my first box, and I was like, I guess this is who I am now. You know?
yeah, yeah. That's the best way to determine
Yeah.
who you're going to play. I got the foil one. That's
Yeah, I
it.
was like, all right, we're doing this. I got really lucky. In that box, I opened a foil Enchantress and a foil Death Dealer. And this was like the week that beta came out. So
Yeah.
I sold that immediately and bought 3 more
Yeah.
boxes with it.
Yep.
I was like, all right, we're doing this.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And that's, I think that's probably one of the best parts about Sorcery is like, if you're not a foil fan, you can sell those foils
Yeah.
for pretty good money and just get what you need. It's very easy to do that. And then going back to what you mentioned about deck construction, you only got to get one of a lot of these cards.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
You're not
huge.
buying 4 copies. That's a huge deal.
Not having to buy like four of whatever the hot card is to make your deck. It takes the cost of this game and the fact that it like only one set a year. It takes the cost of this game and drops it substantially. If you're looking for like that second card game hobby,
Yes.
To me that was one of the main draws of this game. Was like the rarity is truncated, so you don't like spend a bunch of money trying to get like 4 of the chase mythic, right? And then the fact that like I don't have to be constantly inside of this game to follow it and keep up with it, right? Because one set a year, like I'm already playing Legacy, which is basically the I'm not paying attention to magic already. So when I'm very locked into Legacy because that's what the channel's about. But when I go into another card game, I don't live the entire that card game for my entire life. So it's nice to be like, hey, has anything happened? Oh, I just need to buy like a couple boxes and I get right back into it, or see who's putting up the good decks. Like
Yes.
I'm a big fan of Metroid Pikmin and Zalem. I love looking at their on Curiosa.io, going onto their pages and being like, what are they brewing? Like those guys like always have something cool that always, just most of their decks are in that flavor that I like to play too, which is always cool.
Yeah, yeah. And Zalem has won many. Well, not. I think he finishes second. Like he's was finished second several times at major events.
Yeah.
It's funny. He's like, I'm always second place. I think he finally won one. I feel like it was the March Immortals, but I'm not sure. But yeah, if you're going to look at Zalem's decks, it's going to be something really good.
Yeah. And that's the other cool thing is they have a pretty solid deck builder. The Curiosa.io is like a really great deck builder, and it's very easy to use. Now, I mean, all of us wish that we could see prices and stuff that were linked to something so you could do that. And I'm sure someday somebody will come up with that plugin or whatever. But it's just really great to be able to like see who's brewing what, and then be able to make your own stuff and collection tracking.
Yes.
I don't know if you're the kind of psycho that I am not for Magic the Gathering, but I decided I was going to be that kind of psycho for this. And everything that I have that's not Arthurian Legends, I have to go through and organize everything. I have the exact number that I own in my collection because I only had 6 boxes. So I was like, okay, I can do this,
That's not bad.
Yeah. I think it's off a little bit now because when I started buying random singles, like now I'm like just throwing them to decks and like, oh no. But you can collect. You can do a collection tracker and like collect. No. Okay, I'm going to build this guy's deck, duplicate it over, and it will tell you like what you're missing, what you need to buy. That's super cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I really like that. That whole website that they've set up is wonderful. It really does. I mean, it makes deck building so much easier. Like, I've got so many piles of cards everywhere, and I hate trying to build a deck by hand. Now I just go into that thing.
Yeah.
Pop, pop, pop. We're done.
That's the first thing I do. I mean, I've been trained because of Moxfield.
Yeah.
Like build there first, then find the cards. Like I won't move my camera again, but I have a library card catalog for Magic cards. And now there's one row of that, like, what is it? 6 by 10. And one row of that on the bottom. So 5 of them are for Sorcery. But everything's nice and organized. You can go in and find it later after you build it online. It makes everything so much easier. But you have to be that kind of a psycho. Organize all your cards. It's so hard. I mean, even my desk is a garbage pile right now. because I was like messing around with Overpower and was like, I have a box somewhere. I went around finding it. I have like the bottom half of that card catalog is L5R cards too, for like a game that I literally have played maybe 6 matches of since 2000. But like during the pandemic, I went nuts and just like was like, this is a new hobby for me. I'm gonna buy everything that I used to own.
Yep. Yeah. I actually just started doing that with the Star Wars CCG that Decipher made.
Yo, let's talk. I have the first 2 championship decks for Dark Side and Light Side that I got like during the pandemic. Early on, I was like, let me just get those. And then I bought the ones that came out during Dagobah. I don't know if you're familiar with the Dark Side Dagobah deck. That is like the most egregious collectible card game deck that I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, it's insane that they were like, yeah, this is the thing that people can do. I played it against my wife. First off, my wife was mad. She's not a card game person. She's a Star Wars person. She was like, why is Figure and Dan on Dagobah? I'm mad about that. Right? I could not get her off of that. Right?
Yep.
And then, of course, I was playing the Dark Side version, and I was like, God, I'm just being so rude right now. Like, she never had a guy in her hand. Was never able to do anything. She's discarding Yoda. She's like, this game is the worst. I'm like, it's not a great game. I'll be honest, it's not a great game. We used to say that you'd have to rent out like a fire hall so you could play it because it's a wide game and not a tall game.
Yes. Yeah. No, I love that game. I played it from birth to death.
Yeah.
I actually was a judge. I was Bravo 7.
Okay.
So I worked at DecipherCon, and man, I've never been part of a more disastrous tournament in my entire life. They released the enhanced Cloud City set, and we were going to have a tournament for it. It was supposed to be, full 8 rounds. It took 4 hours to get the product passed out. We played 2 rounds and called it quits.
Oh my God.
It was so bad.
That was the one, the Enhanced Cloud City. That was the one that had the guys with the like. You had a pre-con that has the blaster
with the blaster.
Yeah, okay.
Lando
Luke
with the blaster.
All right, cool. Yeah. I remember that because those were awesome. But I didn't end up using them in a lot of decks because I was a force drain guy, and they didn't force drain like that. Like if you got a lightsaber, come on, let me force drain.
Yeah.
We're getting off topic here.
Yeah, we are. We're way out there.
Yeah, we went from like Magic the Gathering to Sorcery to like people who care about very, very dead card games. Just like boom. And the retention dropped off immediately. No one's watching anymore.
Yeah. But back to Sorcery. I mean, right now I'm lined up to judge quite a lot of those events. The Explorer series, I'm going to be attending to judge those events. Sometimes they rope me into playing, but I do try to actually do the judging because more than anything else, I think what Sorcery, the organized play, is going to need is a dedicated judge staff.
Yeah.
Because of all the movement on the board, because of the wording on the cards, we really need judges who know how the game is played and it goes. Because you get a lot of questions, new players especially
with new players,
Yeah, the regions thing, what do you mean nearby and adjacent and all those?
That's the easy stuff.
Yeah. Then you get into the wild stuff.
You can definitely get tripped up on that stuff. But then there are things like a perfect example is when we started playing, I didn't know that Death Speaker's banishment was not also death. So man, I went off with Geistwood and the Grand Master Wizard. Like I was like, whoa, I'm drawing so many cards. And my friend was like, finally, he was like, I was watching a gameplay video where the guy did not draw cards. I'm pretty sure you can't do that. It's like, come on.
Yeah. And it's all those little things. And I mean, there's a lot of that. It's like Snowball can hit stealthed minions unlike any other projectile in the game.
Yeah.
So, because it says pick up, it doesn't say hit them.
Wild. Yeah, it's all those little corner cases though.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to have you back on again and talk about some of these events as they come closer. But Josh, it was great to have you on again. Like, so awesome to have you come on the show and start with the sorcerers yell. And I guess I should say, I'll have you say it.
Yeah. Keep on contesting the round!
Hey, if you enjoyed this episode, hit the subscribe button. It grows the legacy content ecosystem we all love by relaying to the platform that you are part of our passionate community.
And to go even further, click the links for subscription or to support directly via Patreon to help us create more content for you. Patreon supporters get 4 exclusive extra episodes per month. If you're listening on an audio platform, head over to patreon.com/eternaldurdles.
Thanks so much for your support.
We'll see you in the next one.